It was a brisk morning in downtown Los Angeles when Elon Musk, the billionaire entrepreneur, was heading out for a quick breakfast before a busy day of meetings. His electric car zipped through the streets, the hum of the engine providing a quiet contrast to the city's usual hustle and bustle. His mind was preoccupied with the challenges and opportunities of SpaceX and Tesla, as well as the new ventures he was planning to explore. The world seemed to revolve around him, and the future always felt just within reach. But that morning, something unusual happened. As he stepped out of his car, his eyes caught sight of a man sitting on the curb near a coffee shop, a weathered cardboard sign at his feet that read, "Anything helps, lost my job, need work." Elon had seen his fair share of people asking for money or help, but something about this man made him pause. He was in his mid-40s, his clothes tattered and worn, his face a portrait of exhaustion and hopelessness. Yet there was a certain dignity in his posture, a quiet resolve in his eyes. "Excuse me," Elon said, walking over to him. The man looked up in surprise, his eyes narrowing as he took in the sight of the famous billionaire. "You look like you've been through a lot. What's your story?" The man hesitated for a moment, then sighed deeply. "I used to work in construction," he said, his voice rough. "Had a good job, decent pay. But then the company went under, and everything fell apart. No family, no savings, just nothing. I've been trying to find something, anything, but it's hard when you don't have the right connections. I just want to work again." Elon nodded, his expression softening. He was no stranger to failure or setbacks, he'd encountered plenty of his own on the way to building his empire. But he also knew that hard work and determination could often make the difference. "Well," Elon said, "I think I might have a solution for you." The man looked up at him, skeptical. "You do?" "I've tried everything, but no one's hiring someone like me." Elon smiled. "What if I told you that there's more than one way to find work in this world? It's not just about having the right resume or the right connections. Sometimes it's about finding the right fit, something that aligns with your skills and passions." The man furrowed his brow, clearly confused. "What do you mean?" "Let me show you something," Elon said, pulling out his phone. He scrolled through a few apps and then handed it to the man. "You ever heard of a gig economy? Or companies that let you work remotely, do what you're good at from anywhere?" The man looked at the screen, his eyes widening. "You mean, like working from home? I thought that was just for tech people." Elon chuckled. "Not anymore. There are opportunities for people with all kinds of skills. You might not be able to go back to construction right away, but there's plenty of work in areas like logistics, customer service, or even freelance project management." The man seemed to consider it for a moment, his skepticism fading into curiosity. "But how do I even start? I've got nothing to my name, no computer, no experience with that kind of thing." "That's where I come in," Elon said. "I can help you get set up. You don't need a fancy office or a high-tech degree to get started. Just a bit of guidance, a little hustle, and the right mindset. Let's get you on your feet." They spent the next hour discussing possible job options, with Elon offering advice on how to navigate the gig economy, what platforms to use, and how to leverage the skills the man had developed during his years in construction. They even brainstormed some ideas for upskilling through online courses and certifications that would open up new opportunities. As the conversation continued, the man's attitude shifted from disbelief to hope. He could see the path forward, a way to rebuild his life. It wasn't going to be easy, but it was possible. Elon stood up, ready to leave. "I'll check in with you in a couple of weeks," he said, offering the man a firm handshake. "Don't waste this opportunity." The man stood as well, his eyes filled with gratitude. "I don't know what to say, Mr. Musk. Thank you. You've given me more than just advice, you've given me a chance." Elon smiled, getting into his car. Sometimes, all someone needs is a chance. Don't let it slip away. As Elon drove off into the morning traffic, he couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. He had made a difference, however small, in someone's life. And in a world filled with so much ambition, it was moments like these that reminded him of the true power of success, the ability to help others rise. The man, now with a renewed sense of purpose, watched the car disappear into the distance. For the first time in a long while, he felt like he had a chance to change his life, and he wasn't about to waste it. The end. For now. This encounter could easily lead into a continuation where Elon tracks the man's progress, or even the man's journey into a new career that leads to further self-discovery. Weeks passed and the man, whose name was Daniel, followed the advice Elon had given him. At first, he struggled to adjust to the idea of working remotely. It was so different from his old life, where physical labor had been the foundation of his day. Yet, with each passing day, he grew more accustomed to the world of freelance work, online platforms, and digital communication. He started with small tasks, proofreading articles, assembling furniture for people who ordered online but needed someone to build it, and providing customer support via chat. His confidence slowly grew as he gained positive reviews and built a reputation. Elon's words echoed in his mind, "It's about finding the right fit." Daniel realized that he wasn't just rebuilding his career, he was discovering a new side of himself that he never knew existed. One morning, as Daniel was sipping coffee at his small, rented apartment, his phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. He opened it and read, "Hey Daniel, it's Elon Musk. How's everything going?" Daniel's heart skipped a beat. He had almost forgotten about the chance encounter on that fateful morning. To have Elon Musk reach out again, even just to check in, was beyond anything he had expected. He quickly replied, his fingers trembling slightly. "Hi Mr. Musk, thank you for checking in. Things have been going well. I've started working remotely and it's been better than I expected. Still not where I want to be, but I'm getting there." A few minutes later, another message came through. "That's great to hear. Let's talk about the next step. I've been thinking and I might have an opportunity that could be a good fit for you. Are you interested?" Daniel stared at the screen, unsure whether he was reading it right. An opportunity? From Elon Musk? His fingers hovered over the keys as he quickly typed back. "I'm definitely interested. What do you have in mind?" Elon's response was almost immediate. "I've been involved in some projects that require people with a wide range of skills, logistics, management, and even manual labor. I'm working on a new venture related to renewable energy, and we need someone on the ground to help set things up. You'd be overseeing a small team and handling some operational tasks. It's a big step, but I think you're ready for it." Daniel's head was spinning. A job with Elon Musk's company. A chance to work in renewable energy. It felt unreal, but the opportunity was right in front of him. "This sounds incredible. I'm ready for it. How do we start?" Daniel replied, his excitement growing with each word. Elon's message was simple but impactful. "I'll arrange a meeting with the team. They'll give you more details. But remember, this is a chance to prove yourself. Don't let it slip away." 2 days later, Daniel found himself walking into a sleek office building that felt worlds apart from his previous life. He had changed his appearance, cleaned himself up, and dressed the part. It was a new beginning, and he was determined not to let it pass him by. The meeting room was filled with professionals from various industries, all talking about the logistics of the renewable energy project. Daniel was introduced to the team, and they quickly started briefing him on the scope of the work. There were moments of confusion as he struggled to understand some of the technical jargon, but he kept his focus. Elon's faith in him was all he needed to keep going. Weeks turned into months, and Daniel became more involved in the project. His role expanded from overseeing a small team to coordinating efforts across multiple locations. He learned about renewable energy technologies, sustainable business practices, and the logistics of scaling a company. Every day, he felt himself growing in ways he had never imagined. Elon's involvement was occasional but impactful. He would pop in for meetings, offering guidance when necessary, but most of the time, he let Daniel run the show. And Daniel did. He worked harder than ever, driven not just by the desire to succeed but by the belief that he was part of something bigger, something that could change the world. One day, as Daniel sat in the office reviewing progress reports, his phone buzzed again. It was another message from Elon. "I've been hearing great things about your work. You're not just fitting in, you're leading. We are considering making you a permanent part of this project. How do you feel about that?" Daniel couldn't believe what he was reading. From homeless to leading a major project with one of the most influential companies in the world, this was more than he had ever dreamed of. He took a deep breath before typing back, "I'm ready for whatever comes next. Thank you for believing in me, Elon." Elon's reply was simple, but it carried weight. "It's all you, Daniel. Keep pushing forward." The next chapter of Daniel's life was just beginning. And while he knew the road ahead would still be challenging, he now had the tools, the skills, and the mindset to take on whatever came his way. More than anything, he understood the power of a single chance, a chance that, when seized, could change everything. And so, the story continued, with Daniel now standing not just as a survivor, but as a leader in a world where anything was possible. As the months passed, Daniel settled into his new role with ease. What had started as a small opportunity, handed to him almost by chance, had transformed into a pivotal point in his life. The renewable energy project he was overseeing was gaining traction, and with each passing day, the scope of his responsibilities grew. He became known not just as a manager, but as someone who understood how to pull people together, how to make things happen, and how to solve problems on the fly. It wasn't just about the technical side of the project, it was about leadership, vision, and persistence. The team he had inherited was diverse. There were engineers, logistics experts, project managers, and data scientists. At first, Daniel felt out of his depth. He had no formal education in renewable energy or advanced technology, but he quickly learned that his real skill was in connecting with people. His construction background had taught him how to keep a team on track, how to communicate, and how to handle the unpredictable nature of large-scale projects. But just as things were starting to settle into a rhythm, a new challenge arose. One morning, Elon called him directly, something that was becoming less frequent now that Daniel was well established within the company. "Daniel, we've got a situation," Elon said, his voice serious. "There's a delay in the supply chain for some key components. It's going to set us back weeks, maybe longer. I need you to figure out a solution. You're the person I trust with this." Daniel paused for a moment, absorbing the gravity of the situation. A delay like this could mean millions of dollars lost, not to mention the impact on the company's reputation. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, something inside him clicked. This was his moment. This was why he had worked so hard to get here. "I'll handle it," Daniel said, his voice steady. "I'll find a way around it." For the next week, Daniel worked tirelessly, coordinating with suppliers, assessing alternative materials, and consulting with experts to find a solution that would keep the project on track. It wasn't easy. There were late nights, difficult conversations, and moments of doubt, but Daniel's determination kept him going. Finally, after a week of negotiations and adjustments, he found a way to source the missing components from a different supplier. It wasn't perfect, but it would allow the project to continue without any significant delays. When he called Elon to inform him of the solution, the relief in Elon's voice was palpable. "Great job, Daniel. You really came through," Elon said, sounding impressed. "I knew you were the right person for this role." That moment marked a turning point for Daniel. He realized that he wasn't just a man who had been given a second chance, he was someone who could solve real problems and make tough decisions. His confidence had grown in ways he hadn't anticipated, and with it, his reputation within the company. Months later, Daniel found himself at the head of the table at a strategy meeting. Elon was there, as were other high-ranking executives from the company. The topic of discussion was a potential expansion into international markets, something that could change the trajectory of the entire renewable energy sector. As the meeting went on, Daniel's mind raced with ideas. He knew this was the next step, the next challenge that would define his legacy. It was time to think bigger, to push the limits of what he and his team could achieve. With Elon's support, Daniel was determined to make this expansion a success. "We need to scale quickly," Daniel said, interrupting the discussion. "But we also need to ensure we don't compromise the quality or sustainability of our operations. If we want to make a true impact, it's about building systems that will last, not just growing for the sake of growth." Elon looked at him with a thoughtful expression. "You've got the right vision, Daniel. Let's make it happen." As the meeting concluded, Daniel felt a sense of fulfillment he had never experienced before. He had come a long way from that moment when he was sitting on the curb, holding a cardboard sign, hoping for a second chance. Now, he was a key player in a global mission to change the world, one that aligned with his values, his skills, and his newfound purpose. And yet, despite all the success and recognition, Daniel never forgot where he had come from. He kept in touch with the people who had helped him along the way, including Elon. They would often have brief chats about the future, about how they could continue to make a difference. But more than anything, Daniel was now driven by a deeper understanding of what success really meant. It wasn't just about the money, the fame, or the accolades, it was about the ability to help others, to be a part of something greater than yourself, and to never stop pushing forward. No matter the obstacles. One day, as he walked through the company's headquarters, a young woman approached him with a hesitant smile. "Excuse me, Mr. Daniel, I just wanted to say that I admire your journey. I read about how you started from nothing, and now you're leading one of the most innovative projects in the world. I've been struggling with finding my path, but your story gives me hope." Daniel smiled and nodded, taking a moment to reflect. He had become what he once needed, a mentor, a guide, a reminder that anyone, no matter where they started, could rise to greatness. "Just keep going," he said, his voice calm and encouraging. "The road might be tough, but every step forward counts. And when you get to where you want to be, don't forget to pull someone else up with you." As the young woman walked away, Daniel watched her go with a sense of pride. He had made it, but more importantly, he was now in a position to help others make it, too. And as long as he could do that, he knew his journey would never truly end. The end. For now. The story could continue with Daniel expanding his influence, taking on even larger projects, and mentoring others who were once in his position, showing that the road to success is never a straight line, but one full of twists, turns, and the occasional helping hand. Daniel's journey had come full circle. From the streets with nothing but hope in his heart, to a leader at the forefront of a global movement in renewable energy, he had proven that no dream was too far out of reach. Yet, as his success grew, so did his desire to give back to the world that had once seemed so indifferent to his struggles. His company's expansion into international markets was nothing short of revolutionary. Daniel spearheaded efforts to bring sustainable energy solutions to developing countries where access to reliable power was often scarce. He knew that this was his chance to not only change the world but to make a lasting impact. With every new project, every new challenge, Daniel continued to rise. But what truly fulfilled him was the opportunity to mentor others. He began a program within his company to help underprivileged individuals find their path in the tech and energy sectors, just as he had found his. He worked with schools, community organizations, and nonprofits to create pathways for young people, especially those from disadvantaged backgrounds who had the potential but lacked the resources. One day, years after his chance encounter with Elon Musk, Daniel found himself standing in front of a room full of bright-eyed young individuals, eager to hear his story. It was a new chapter in his life, one where he wasn't just making decisions for a corporation, but shaping the future of others. As he spoke to the group, Daniel was reminded of his own humble beginnings. He had once sat in the shoes of these young people, dreaming of a future beyond his circumstances. Now, he had the privilege of being the person who could help turn their dreams into reality. "It's not about how you start," Daniel said, his voice resonating with conviction. "It's about how you fight, how you learn, and how you keep moving forward when everything seems impossible. The road will be tough, and there will be days when you'll want to give up. But the key is to never stop believing in yourself. If I can do it, so can you." The room was silent, each person hanging on to his every word. As the session ended, a young man approached him, his eyes filled with admiration. "Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Your story. It's exactly what I needed to hear. I've been struggling, but now I feel like I have a chance. You've shown me that it's possible." Daniel smiled, placing a hand on the young man's shoulder. "I didn't do it alone," Daniel replied. "There were people who helped me along the way. Now, it's your turn to pass it on. Remember, the best way to repay the opportunities you've been given is to give others the same chance." As he watched the young man walk out with newfound determination, Daniel felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had achieved everything he once thought was impossible. And yet, the true reward came not from the accolades, the wealth, or the recognition. It came from knowing that his journey, his story, could inspire others to take that first step toward their own dreams. The sun was setting as Daniel stood outside the building, taking a moment to reflect. The path ahead was still filled with challenges, but for the first time in a long time, he felt at peace. He had come a long way, but there was still so much more to do. He wasn't just a man who had overcome adversity, he was a catalyst for change, a mentor, and a symbol of hope. And as long as there were people who needed guidance, he would be there, ready to help them find their way. And so, the story ended, not with the finality, but with the promise of new beginnings for everyone who crossed Daniel's path.